What's happening, Lazy Bunch fans? Dan here. We are doing our first 2023 Ask Lazy Bunch question and answer video. Welcome to a new year, everyone. I'm really excited to tell you about all the fun and exciting projects we have going on this year. But more importantly, I am here to answer your questions because, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of things that you guys don't know about me. Before we start, as always, slap that subscribe button because we can always use more subs. And lately, I noticed the people who are subbed aren't really watching our stuff. What is wrong with you? Why aren't you watching our content? I know a lot of my stuff is stupid, but come on. You gotta admit, the Lovely Fans video, the sus social media site, those are top tier, guys. Come on. Now, let's be real. Those are cringe and mid. This guy, what does he know about writing? Anyway, our first question is from Aquifer Unknown. He always asks a lot of questions, so let's dive right into this. What's your opinion on trash talking in games? Trash talk was always a lot of fun, and more importantly, depending on the crowd you're with, trash talk could really lighten the mood, or I guess really darken the mood, depending on, what is said. More importantly, look at Halo Infinite. There's not an endgame lobby where you can talk to people, or a lobby at the beginning of each match where you can interact with people, maybe trash talk a little bit. It's like a sports event, you gotta have a little bit of rivalry before going into a match just to make it a little bit more interesting, So having some sort of like police in the games are probably important for nowadays, but regardless, I think trash talking to an extent should be in some games. Next question. I know you talked a bit about this already, but if you had to make a machinima in any other game than Halo, what games would it be? Looking back, there have been a lot of games I've wanted to do, like Gmod. I was part of the group that really wanted to make a Team Fortress 2 machinima. That was, top tier. The new Disney Valley game, I think it's like Stardew Disney Valley, or I am really botching the name right there, but we wanted to do something like that too. There's a lot of games I really wanted to do, and at one point when I was a teenager, I really wanted to do like a Sims machinima. Something about the Halo games just feels so unique to make a machinima for. So that's kind of my answer. Like, Halo has always been my thing, but I don't know, I've thought about other games, I've never really gotten down to doing them. And next, would it be a story driven as your Halo series? Well, I think it really depends. And for me, with the Halo series, like the Perfect Soldiers universe, a lot of our inspirations are taken from the Halo universe. While the events of Perfect Soldiers are not directly close-knit to the Halo universe, there are definitely some storylines that we are inspired by. And more importantly, the fact that we are making a machinima in a Halo game, I feel like we have to make some callbacks to Halo to at least appreciate the origin of where this machinima came from. Like in some cases, like if you're gonna make a Star Wars show or movie, have some sort of callback to Star Wars, because otherwise, why is it in the universe, Next, he asks, any ideas for merch that you haven't done yet? So if you go through our Discord servers, a lot of people want a body pillow of Captain Reynolds or Samantha Chloe, or some of our other hit characters of the Perfect Soldiers universe. Guys, there's a lot of merchandise that I've wanted to make, and me and Javelin keep going back and forth on what we should do and how we should go back to the future of the shop. But the body pillow seems to be the fan favorite, and one of these days, it's gonna happen. We will get a body pillow Captain Reynolds for you guys to buy. One day. Also, if you had to rank all your series, including things like Let's Watches, how would you rank them? For this, I really need to make like one of those tier lists, with S, A, B, C, D, F tiers. I don't know if I could really think off the top of my head right now what series fits in what. If I had to break it up into different series, I think Lone Wolf is top, then Reclaimer's next. But for Let's Watches, maybe like D tier. It's not last in my opinion, but I have a different view of it because I'm the one who makes them. As the viewers, some of you may really like it, but for me, it's different because I have a different attachment to them. F tier is probably my Minecraft show. I have 100+ episodes of that series. Do not watch it. They're bad, and there's even one video where I start to fall asleep in it. If you can find that video, you will get a gold star, but yeah, the Minecraft Utopia series, that is probably F tier. That is the worst thing I have ever made for this Lazy Bunch channel. Next, we got a question from Cast Scarab 9. Yeah, Cast. Are Let's Watches going to continue? There's a number of reasons for the cancellation, but firstly, it's really time consuming for me to make a Let's Watch. Secondly, I found that the only people who actually watch the Let's Watches are the ones who have made that said content, which is totally fine because I absolutely love making shout outs and call outs to other channels and people who have supported me. I always want to support them. But in the grand scheme of things, I didn't see a need for the series anymore because it's not helping people discover anyone else's content. Like I said, the only people who watch those Let's Watches are the people who've made that content. Like, for example, if Innovative Monitor's Let's Watch video, Cherry Blossom. Yes, you may be watching it as a fan, but you're watching it because you're a fan of Cherry Blossom Innovative Monitor, not because you're new to the Machinima community and trying to discover new people, which was the original intention. The original intention was that if there was a new up-and-coming Machinima creator or someone just now getting into Machinima, they would discover this series and find, hey, there are other Machinimas that I could watch from so-and-so, from so-and-so, from so-and-so. But it didn't turn out that way. It turned out the only people who actually watched the content were the people who produced it or were part of those actual servers who had made that content, if that makes sense. And the last nail in the coffin for cancellation of the series was I made a poll on my YouTube channel basically asking, you know, if I had to work more on a series or bring back a series, what would it be? And out of 200 votes, only 3% of people, 3%, voted for Let's Watch, which was the bottom ranked thing. So that alone told me that my personal fans aren't interested in the series. I realized that continuing this series was just not worth it. If there's enough fan demand, I'll bring it back. Or if there's a particular project that really like warrants it. But besides that, I mean, there hasn't been a reason for me to bring it back. And this has been an on and off relationship with me and Let's Watches from the very start. I had good intentions when creating the show, but at a certain point, I just got tired with it, and then I brought it back, and then I got tired of it, and then I brought it back, and here I am today, basically saying it's canceled. Next, we got a question from Cam, or better known as Quad Pierce, or Innovative Monitor, whatever name you want to go with. Do you have your next project in the works? And if so, will your next Machinima project be in the Perfect Soldier universe or on its own? As I've stated in a couple of these Let's Watch videos, the next series is going to be Perfect Soldiers 3. Still a working title. After all these months, it's still a working title. I mean, I've been writing the thing. My team and I have been throwing ideas back and forth about it to each other, and we just don't have an official title yet. I've been really pushing for just The Perfect Soldiers. That's it. Just those 3 words. That's what I've been pushing. But everyone else on my team seems to have different ideas of what we should call it. So we'll have an official announcement soon enough. But that's the next big project. And obviously by the title, it's taking place in the Perfect Soldiers universe. The project after that is going to be really interesting. It's like a Game of Thrones type story. It's going to be taking place on a different planet, kind of in a different time period too. So that's going to be really interesting. But it will also take place in the Perfect Soldiers universe, and how those two things connect, you will find out. Next, we got a question from Buck. Oh man, Buck's got a load of questions. He always comes out with me with a bunch of them. First, he asks, will Walt Disney make an appearance in the Perfect Soldiers universe? Well, I gosh darn hope so. Next, he asks, how do you set goals when working on projects, as in scale of goal, over what period of time, etc.? So this is a little bit of a tough one to answer because I kind of set a number of goals per projects. I usually try to set it down to one goal, but I guess the goals kind of fall into different categories. Our first goal is, will this story be enjoyable? And if it isn't, let's go back to the drawing board. But for us, we're not just looking for what leads to the next story, but like, what is the conclusion? What is one sentence that could define this whole story? For Lone Wolves of 2019, the main theme was trust. And the finale of that story had to be, how can we have this character learn to trust others? And we've had a number of other goals in other projects, like for instance Reclaimer, how can we improve the editing? And for Love Was Extraction, how can we improve the pacing, the music, the characters? In this next story, our main goal is to help establish the universe more. That is our main goal. Because right now under our belt, we have 5 other projects in the Perfect Soldiers universe, and while we have established the characters, we've established the universe, we haven't established the lore yet, and we really want to establish more of like the past and what led to these events in the Perfect Soldier stories to begin with. Next, he asks, what is Walt Disney's connection to Anderson? Well, didn't you know Anderson is like Walt Disney's great-great-great-great-grandfather? Next, we got a bunch of questions from Buck, so I'm gonna do a speed round right now. Are there characters you wish you kept alive? Yes, Agent Parker. I kind of touched a little bit on that in the last Ask Lazy Bunch video. Will we get a gaming montage? I'm not really sure what you mean by a gaming montage. I mean, I've done a lot of montages in all of our projects. A gaming montage, like a montage of me gaming? I need to elaborate a little more on this question. I need to know more. When did your interest in Machinima begin? Red versus Blue? Probably in 2008 when I was a freshman in high school. That's when it really started. Halo 3 had come out, and like I said, Red vs. Blue was at its peak. So yeah, that's when I really got into it. Do you have a direction you wish to see Machinima in general go in? The thing that's tough about the community right now is that a lot of it's going into animation, which is totally fine. I am totally good with animation. I'd love to see a resurgence of the Machinima aspect of it, like more like the gaming aspect of it, seeing what tools we could use in just Forge, or what tools we could use in modding, or the elements that are in the game games, I want us to utilize a little bit more of. Again, not that I have a problem with animation. In fact, animation is a medium that I want to use more of myself. For me, it loses its magic a little bit when, you know, you got a battle scene happening and, you know, someone just inserts a warthog because they can't have the warthog on the map. Back in the early days of Machinima, if you managed to get that warthog in the pit map on the map, that was like out of this world, like crazy. Like, yo, that just made this Machinima 10 times more interesting because you somehow not only glitched up the game to make the thing come into the map, but you followed all the tips and tricks in order to make it happen. You did it within the game itself, and it was much more of a pride thing. You know, you took pride in knowing that you did something for this Machinima that other people can do, but it was a little extra work to make it happen. Whereas with animation, you know, people now just look at it like, oh, we can't have an elite in this shot. Well, we'll just add it in post. We'll just add it in post. I feel like it's the same case with special effects nowadays. You know, people look at a movie and they say that, well, the special effects is way too heavy in this, and that it kind of lost its magic not doing practical stuff. That's where I'm coming from with it. Again, animation, it is important to use, but I think it should be used in the sense of like, if you can't do this thing in game like at all, and like that should be your last resort, then yes, use animation. What would you love to see from the Machinima community? I would love to see more unity and more maturity out of this community. Over these last few years, there's been a lot of people causing trouble, a lot of idiots doing things that pushes people out of the community. So for me, I really love to see more maturity out of the people who are here, and more importantly, a little bit more cooperation between people. I mean, there are some people who work really hard in these Machinimas, and some people who, you know, pour their blood, sweat, and tears into their project, and then just have it completely just destroyed because one person was like, well, I don't like that voice actor who's in this, so I'm gonna give your project an F rating because I make Machinima. No, there are people who literally don't make Machinimas who feel that they should take it upon themselves to critique Machinimas. It's one thing to give your personal views on a project and maybe recommend, hey, this is how you could have done it better. But it's another to just outright destroy the creator's hopes and ambitions and outright trash their project. And going back to what I said, I'd love to see more maturity in this community, people who not only take more responsibility, but people who are more supportive. You know, as a nearly 30-year-old dude in this community, you know, I am probably considered an elder in this community at this point. But I've seen so many people backstab each other, hurt each other, push others away just because they thought that they were above everyone else. No. Everyone has the right to make a Machinima. Everyone should have a chance to make a Machinima. And that is what I want from the Machinima community. I want maturity, peace, and responsibility. Come on. We're not like children making this stuff. I mean, there have been some people who are 14 years old making Machinimas, and sure, they're allowed to be idiots because they're young. But we here, the 30-year-olds, the 20-year-olds, the people who are graduating high school, the people who are in high school need to lead by example and not only support the next generation of Machinimators, but also help them, because whether we like it at the end of the day, we're not all gonna be here forever. And as much as I like to be here forever, but the point is, who's gonna take up my place when I'm gone? Who's gonna take up your place when you're gone? Someone isn't just gonna miraculously appear. You have to be welcoming. Let people into this community. Help them. Show that there are people who want to help others, who aren't just idiots, who are just pig-headed, who want to just do dumb things. Anyways, that is my rant for the day. Be kind to one another, show some positivity to one another, and let's all be friends. Like, I say that as a joke and cliche, but, you know, it's true. It's true. Next, if you could change one thing about your Machinima, what would that be? There's a number of things I would have wanted to change in a number of Machinimas. I mean, some things I wish, like Lone Wolves Extraction, I wish that was a little bit longer. Lone Wolves of 2019, I wish I learned a little bit better on pacing. Perfect Soldier Elimination, I wish I did a better job with the story itself. Perfect Soldier Evolution, I wish I knew what I was doing in 2011 when I was writing this stupid thing. I wish I knew that I was writing this thing that was gonna start a whole universe. I wish I knew what I was doing a little bit more. And, you know, there's a lot of times where I'm just jumping into a project and just kind of learning as I go, which is totally fine. I mean, there's a lot of things that, like, I don't anticipate along the way. And there are some things that I learn how to do better along the way. But I wish I went in with a little more knowledge. I wish I knew that I was going to edit a project that, you know, maybe needed to be faster paced, or I forged a map that, You know, if I had waited another month or so for an MCC update, I could have added a new vehicle to a map or something else to do something better. You know, I wish I had more knowledge. And, you know, I look back and I'm like, even like literally a month after Lone Wolves Extraction came out, I'm like, I could have done so much better. Like, I could have done this, this, and this better. Now that I know how to do it better, I could have done it better. And, that's my biggest thing. Are there other genres you want to try working in? So going back to our previous Ask Lazy Bunch video, I think I briefly talked about making a Guardians of the Galaxy machinima type where it's like comedy driven. We're doing that Game of Thrones type one next after Perfect Soldiers. That's gonna be very serious, lots of drama. So our hope is to really do a lot of genres over time, but the thing is for us, we have to figure out whether that genre is warranted or if we have a story fits in that genre, if that makes sense. We're not just gonna make a comedy just for the heck of it. Like, we're gonna make a comedy because the story warrants it to be a comedy. Like, if there are characters who are funny, or if there are new people who are just, you know, misfits or idiots, you know, we gotta warrant that genre towards the story, if that makes sense. We're moving on to Santinator. This is our first time having Santinator, or Aiden, or I think he changed his name to Santinator because of the holidays. Aiden, or better known as 236 Studios. This dude is awesome. He is the voice of our Dr. Jax Harvey from Lone Wolves Extraction. He did a fantastic job, so check out his channel. He's got some really good stuff on there. Anyways, he asks, which project in the Perfect Soldier franchise is your favorite? Which one is your least favorite? So let's start with the least favorite, because I think we all know the answer to that. It is Perfect Soldier Evolution. I love the way we did certain story elements, but looking back on it, I was such a naive teenager writing this story about this war factory and this warlord who is corrupt. And more on that, I mean, his justification for being corrupt is that he lost the love of his life on the battlefield. I mean, that in of itself sounds so cliche. It's so cringe, and that is my least favorite one of the projects. But my favorite is probably gonna be Lone Wolves 2019. That one just has a special place in my heart. Reclaimer also has a special place in my heart. I've learned so much from Reclaimer, and I think Aaron Weatherford, our composer, really loves the Reclaimer soundtrack. I mean, it really made us shine with that one. So next, Aquifer Unknown asks, what's the biggest inspiration to your machinimas? A specific movie, book, show, etc. So it really depends on the project. And I mean, I know I've talked about Star Wars being our biggest inspiration for the whole series as a whole, and obviously Marvel, but a lot of it really depends. James Bond was a big inspiration for us for Lone Wolves, even though it wasn't really James Bondy like. It's just the thriller aspect of it was our inspiration. Reclaimer, we were really inspired by Star Wars Rebels. Rebels specifically was a big inspiration for us. Right now we're watching The Crown, and that's really, I could see it really inspiring Perfect Soldiers 3. Next we got Christopher Nate Spidey 18. It's been a minute since we heard from you, my guy. Anyway, he asks, Red Pill, Infinite Split Screen Co-op in Season 3 right now. Blue Pill, Halo 3 Anniversary right now. Oh man, that's a good one. I'm gonna go with the Blue Pill. Halo 3 just has a specific like importance to me, and Halo 3 Anniversary, I've wanted that for so damn long. I would 1000% take the Blue Pill. I'm really excited about Season 3. I think that's gonna be really good, but I could wait for that. I could wait on that. Next, the Slime Artist, Mr. Slime himself. In a fight between Reynolds and Chloe, who would win? The Slime Artist, you're asking a good question here. This is the right kind of question you should be asking. So I think I briefly touched upon this in the last Ask Lazy Bunch question and answer video, but I kind of talked about how we do want to do like a Civil War Marvel like story later down the line for Perfect Soldiers universe, where, you know, we're having the heroes fight other heroes. I want to put my money at Reynolds, but Chloe would win. Nothing against Reynolds, but Chloe, she is just so smart. Her thrusters on her armor help her infinitely more than Reynolds does. Her confidence is just really there compared to Reynolds, and I think she would win a fight just because she would take the necessary punches to Reynolds, whereas Reynolds might hold back, if that makes sense. Aquifer Unknown asks, do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man? The Muffin Man! Yes, I know the Muffin Man, who lives in Drury Lane. Not the Gumdrop Buttons! Thank you for attending dance performance of Shrek. I hope you're here for next week's episode of Shrek 2. Nate Spidey 18 asks, ever thought of having a full beard? So I have thought about it, but my beard does come in a little patchy in some places. But besides that, my wife does not like beards. She doesn't like the scratchiness right around here. So if anything, I could grow some mutton chops, but I have to leave this area right here blank for her. She doesn't like the stubble. Aquifer Unknown asks, favorite ride attraction at Disney World? So as you guys could tell, I got this guy in the background. He is one of the hitchhiking ghosts from the Haunted Mansion ride at Disney Disney World. The Haunted Mansion is my absolute favorite ride. It wasn't always my favorite, but once I started working at Disney, I had a much deeper appreciation for it. And more importantly, I opened the Haunted Mansion gift shop in 2014 at the Magic Kingdom. The Haunted Mansion has played such a big part of my life, and I actually got this guy from my mother-in-law for Christmas. She spent a good amount of money getting this guy for me, so thank you, Tammy. Love you very much. Next, we got a question from CannonMan925. Dear Daniel Renko, the secondist of the Lazy Bunch Dominion, and there for the Dine Disneyland. I'm sorry, I knew I really botched that one, but you kind of get the idea. Yo, if I ever came to the Disneyland where you worked, could you hook me up with some free rides? I've never been to Disneyland or the States. So the one I worked at is in Florida, which is even further away from where you live, Cannon. But I'll see what I can do. You know, next time you come to the States, we'll go to Disney, my man. We'll ride some awesome rides. We'll get some good old lightning lanes, and we'll do some awesome stuff. Moving on, the Slimed Artist asks another question. Do you think Machinima should have its own screenplay script format? I mean, in the end, a screenplay script and a Machinima one will utterly be similar, more or so. I'm asking how does one of your Machinima scripts look? So I'll throw one of my scripts up on screen right now. This is kind of the format I use. It's very similar to the Hollywood format. I just use a different font. The same thing with Hollywood. There's not like an official like script format for doing this. I mean, it depends on the studio, it depends on who's writing it. The same goes for us. I wish there was a little bit more unity in how we all did it, because some people do it one way and one other person literally does it the complete opposite. But this is the way how I do it. I've seen a lot of other creators do it sort of similarly to me. I always like including what's happening in the scenes for context clues. Admittedly, I've even done some voice acting for some scripts, and I would have zero clue as to what is happening in the scene. For me as a director, I like knowing what's going on, and let's say 3 months down the line, I finally film this thing, I may not be in the same mindset as I was when I first wrote it. So knowing what's happening in the scenes helps me, future me, know what's happening in those scenes, if that makes sense. So I always like to put as much information on what's happening blocking wise, and maybe kind of like explaining like wide shot, close up, this is what's happening, person leaves frame. Like, the more details you can give in a script, the better. If you're changing to a different location, put the change in the scene in there. That just helps separate it, and not to mention that helps you as a filmmaker when you're filming these scenes. You know, okay, I'm filming on a high ground for this segment. Oh, but that segment is actually going to be on Valhalla. So how about I just mark Valhalla scene 2, and then if I need to go back, scene 3 will be high ground again. It helps you with trying to figure out what's happening in the scene, but it also helps you mentally know, okay, I finished this scene, let's move on, end the game, go to the next map. And it tells you right then and there, Valhalla. The Slime Artist asks another question. Oh, also, very important question. How do you fix the loading screen glitch in the Perfect Soldiers video game? It just keeps going, and I want my money back. I see what you did here. That's funny. That's funny. I like that. I like that a lot. Next, we got another one from Aquifer. Opinion on MCC Steam Workshop support. I don't really have a big opinion on this, really. I don't really play MCC on PC or Steam much. I play mostly on console. While I would love to give you an answer, I feel like my answer is not really important, I guess, in this case, because I don't know what I'm talking about. So, and if you have MCC on Steam, any plans to make vids or machinimas using mods? Okay, well, to answer this one, like I said, I don't really play on PC much, but I really do want to play with mods and start to use some things for the future. Not for Perfect Soldiers 3, but for maybe future projects later down the line. As I said, the Game of Thrones project will take place on a different planet in a different time period, so if that gives you a hint as to us using some other different Halo games, that's the hint right there. But as for using mods, I would love to use mods. I really want to get more into them, so I'm giving myself like a 2-year practice run right now, and mods are gonna keep getting better. So I'm hoping as time progresses, you know, it'll become more easily accessible for people like me who just have never used them, who have no idea what they're doing. So I hope this will, you know, progress a little bit more in the future. Nate Spuddy 18 asks, if you made a machinima and had to bring in a celebrity guest either as a main role or a side, who would they be and why? I think for the first celebrity we should ever have should be someone from Rooster Teeth. Now, as you all know, Red vs. Blue is very special to me in my heart, but I think for terms of celebrity guests or even just a little minor role, I think it would be really cool to have Jeff Ramsey, you know, voice of Griff, or Gus Sorolla, have him do the voice of someone in there, or even Matt Hullum. You know, having one of those guys just do a temporary role would be really cool. It would be awesome to have one of those guys in there. And how much more meta can it get, you know? But in terms of big celebrities, Mark Hamill, you know, he's a great voice actor. I would love to work with him for something. Tara Strong, she is an absolutely amazing voice actress. I would love to work with her as well. She has provided the voices for a lot of my childhood cartoons, so I would love to have her do something as well. And just really any big time, you know, like voice actor or actress. Like, there's so many people that I look up to, and I just would love to work with any of them. You know, there's just so many great people. So maybe one day. But I think to start, I think just having our Rooster Teeth, you know, one of those guys, you know, come in and do a minor role guest. That would just be awesome. Saudi asks, oh, this is our first question from Saudi on Discord. Cool guy. Anyway, he asks, have you ever thought about trying any 3D modeling software such as Blender or Unreal Engine? And if you have tried any, which ones? So I've talked about this a lot in my Discord servers. I've used Blender a number of times. I am not the most skilled with it. I'm hoping to get better, but there are people like Buck or Shari Dragoon who use cool softwares, who know what they're doing, who are super talented. And those people are the ones you should be asking questions about if you have any questions about these softwares. They're the ones who are the masters. I look up to them. Oh, and I can't forget about Legendary Animation. They know what they're doing. They're super talented, and check out one of their videos. You know, there's a lot of... They have a lot of cool content as well. Mystic Bulbasaur asks, ooh, our first one from Mystic Bulbasaur. I like this guy. Who in the Lazy Bunch crew have listened to Red Hot Chili Peppers? I grew up in the early 2000s, and Red Hot Chili Peppers, I've listened to so many albums of theirs. I don't have a favorite because it's been so long since I've listened to them, but my favorite album growing up was Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic. That was such a good album. I mean, it's, what year is it? 1991, but I mean, that one, oh, and by the way, that was a good album too. But those are the ones I really listened to a lot when I was growing up. My youngest brother, Tyler, he's a musician. He does a lot of music and stuff, and he's definitely listened to Red Hot Chili Peppers. A lot of Red Hot Chili Peppers. Just for Today asks, oh man, just for today. He asks, Anakin or Obi-Wan? I know what he's asking. So in terms of characters, Obi-Wan has always been my favorite. He's always been my number one. But in terms of, I think he's talking about his videos, I'm gonna have to go with Darth Vader / Anakin. I really like that video. It was so cool. Really got my blood pumping and really got me wanting to watch Star Wars again. Not that I don't already watch Star Wars every week anyway, but that was such a cool video, and props to you, man, for making that. And such a fast pace, like, you're awesome, man. That was so cool. NateSpuddy18 asks, expectations for 2023 for Machinima, videos, collaborations, etc. Also, any new kind of content to be expected for the new year? So it's the new year, it's January. Let's talk about Machinimas and stuff for 2023 for Lazy Bunch. As I've stated multiple times, Perfect Soldiers, that's the next big project. That should be coming out sometime this year. The reason why I haven't dropped a trailer, teaser, or anything yet is because I want to make sure that I know exactly when it's going to come out. I don't want any delays happening with it and, you know, making one trailer that says it's going to come out, you know, in the summertime, and then it's getting pushed back to December. I want to know for sure when it's going to come out because this next series is huge. It is the Avengers of the first phase of the Perfect Soldiers. This closes out the first 6 movies we've made and pushes the next phase of movies. So it is going to be really big. We're focusing heavily on the story, getting the lore of the universe more established. So there's a lot of expectations, a lot of cool things that were put into it. In terms of other videos and collaborations, I don't want to say much, but I am working with Lost Hobo Films on something. So that is something I think that's coming out in 2023. In terms of other videos, there's going to be Genre Generator. That should be coming out sometime soon. I know I talked about it in the last Ask Lazy Bunch, but it's going to happen. It's going to come out at some point. And some other videos, I want to get more crazy with Machinimas. I want to do some different things. I used to be so heavily interested in doing some different projects. What I've come to find is that this channel channel flourishes the most when it's just solely focused on Machinima. Instead of Machinima's Disney, Legos, other content, it just seems to work really well when it's just focused on one type of thing. So Machinima's I'm really going to focus on a lot more videos. I might do some more live action stuff like this, you know, Ask Lazy Bunch and all that kind of stuff. But I might just do some more gaming videos. I mean, I miss the days when I used to just play a game and just, you know, do a stream or something. So I might go back to do some more of those. KidMan925 asks, are Lazy Bunch game night videos on the table? Speaking of gaming, I am not opposed to doing game nights. I've never actually done one where I've posted it online. Like, I've done game nights with other people and like other groups, but I've personally never hosted my own game night or done one for a Lazy Bunch. I really need to at some points. I mean, we're such a big gaming channel and such a strong focus for Halo that I think I need to at some point. It just needs to happen. Last question. NateSpidey18, game review? Question mark. So if you're asking about like me doing game reviews, I might do that, but it's going to be a very short series because I really only play like 3 games. I play Halo, Animal Crossing, Kirby from Nintendo, and every now and again I'll play something else like Super Mario Brothers or Overcooked or something else simple like that. But in terms of game reviews, I am not a big gamer, and surprise surprise, my brother, he is the big gamer. He plays Call of Duty, Warzone, Titanfall. I remember growing up, he played a lot of BioShock, Metroid Prime. He's the one who knows everything to do with gaming. Past 10 years, I have not really played much games, and doing game reviews would be really cool, but like I said, it would be a very short series because all I talk about is Halo, Mario. I think the last big game that was not in any of those categories was probably Red Dead Redemption. Not the second one, the first one. I was really into Red Dead when it first came out, but since then, haven't really played much. So yeah, I know that's gonna be offending some people on this channel, so I'm sorry. Anyway, that closes out all the questions for this video. Like I said, this was more questions than I've ever had in any of these videos, so if this video is longer than the other ones, I apologize. But if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for all of your love and support for 2022. It was a great year for us. We literally went from like 500 subs to over 5,000 subs in the span of 7 months, so I really need to thank you guys more for all of your love and support for 2022. 2023 is going to be a great year. There's going to be more Halo shorts coming out. There's going to be some genre generator shorts as well. And on top of that, we have our next big Machinima coming out this year, hopefully before the end of this year. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting things to look forward to this year. And as always, every month there's going to be another Ask Lazy Bunch video. So eventually you'll start to know more and more about what the future plans for this channel are. So yeah, there's just so much content that I want to make, and it's all being separated into different channels. But more importantly, thank you for supporting Lazy Bunch. Thank you for being here. Thank you for helping us get through 13 years of craziness and insanity, and thank you for helping us finally get monetized. That was the big thing. We're finally making some dough on this channel, so I hope you all continue the support, continue supporting us and me. I mean, I know it's one of those things that, like, I don't like to gloat. I don't like to talk about myself a lot, and you know, we here as a team have worked together, but for me personally, I do about like 99% of the videos on this channel, 90% of the work on a lot of the content, and you know, I really want to thank Javelin, Aaron, Cannonball, all the people who've supported me, Lost Hobo Films, Chronicler, NateSpidey18, all the people who I've met over the years who have supported me, and I know I'm missing a lot of people. Buck with animation, Legend with helping me with some questions, and just for today for always asking ridiculous questions, and all these other people, Aquifer Unknown for always commenting in every video. Like I said, I know I'm missing some people, but I really want to thank all of you for the support that you've shown me, and helping me finally get to a point where I could actually make a little bit of money. I've only made $10 after these last 3 months, but you know, $10, that's my lunch. That's a lunch for one day. You know, that's Chipotle. And, you know, thank you for helping me pay for that lunch. So, you know, I just serious right now, but thank you so much for helping me get to this point. I hope 2023 is going to be a better year for us. As always, I hope we always keep pushing the boundaries for our content and always doing more new and exciting things. So thank you so much for your support. Hopefully continue supporting us, watching our stuff, and as always, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.